Hello and welcome to Dove Biology APES Lessons to Go. In today's video, we'll be exploring matter and pollution and the concept that there is no way. Pollution can be any type of matter that's added to the air, water, soil, or food that's going to threaten the health and survival of living things. Pollution can be natural. For example, a volcanic eruption puts sulfur dioxides and particulates and carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. But a lot of pollution is also human-born or anthropogenic. Burning of coal, like a volcanic eruption, can put particulates and carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere. Typically, we classify pollution as being of either point source or non-point source origin. Point source pollutants come from a single identifiable source, like this affluent pipe. Whereas non-point source pollution comes from dispersed sources. For example, multiple farms with multiple cows from all over a particular region. Now, it's going to be cheaper and easier to identify and control point source pollutants because we can simply find that source and then turn it off. Whereas it's much more difficult to stop the pollution coming from all the cows in a particular region, or all of the tailpipes of cars over a particular area. Now, pollutants are going to impact living things in the environment in different ways depending upon several factors. One factor would be its chemical nature. Is it biological or chemical or radiological? What's its level of toxicity? Another thing we would look at would be its concentration. Do we have a little bit of it in the environment compared to other items? Or is it highly concentrated? Is there a lot of it in the environment in a particular area? And then lastly, its persistence. How long does it last? There are basically three categories of persistence. If it doesn't last very long in the environment, it's likely very degradable. For example, human sewage, under the right conditions, is very degradable and it won't last very long in the environment. Some pollutants are slowly degradable or quite persistent. It lasts for a while in the environment. For example, the insecticide DDT is slowly degradable, but it does last a long time in the environment, and so therefore it can have catastrophic effects, as was illustrated in the book Silent Spring. Lastly, a non-degradable pollutant is one which is highly persistent and basically lasts forever in the environment. Heavy metals like lead and mercury are perfect examples of that. When mercury is added to the environment, either naturally or anthropogenically, it actually lasts in the environment, and it can actually increase in concentration as it moves through the food chain. And so that's why we have to watch how much fish that we eat and where the fish came from, because we want to limit our exposure to things like heavy metals, because as with mercury, it has neurological impacts. And of course, pregnant or expectant mothers, it's going to have major impacts on the development of the offspring. So in terms of pollution, we have to think of different solutions, and there's two basic approaches. The first one is simply prevent it from reaching the environment. So not producing it in the first place would be the best idea, but if we are producing it, finding ways to capture it before it gets out into the environment to cause problems. And then the last thing would be to clean up pollution if it does reach the environment, and that's going to be the most costly and most difficult to do. A major issue, though, with cleanup or with disposal of any kind of pollutant is when we look at that law of conservation of matter. Matter can't be created or destroyed. What that means is there's no way to throw away the pollutants that we capture. Everything that is matter is going to exist as matter. So we can try to collect pollutants and make the environment cleaner, but we have to put it somewhere. So if we burn the pollutant to try to remediate it and make it less harmful, well, we're still going to be putting particulates and carbon into the atmosphere. We can bury it, but then it's going to last in the environment, and if we don't kind of seal off that landfill, then that pollutant could re-enter the environment at a different time. We could try to chemically convert it into a less harmful form, but this is going to take energy, and it might not be able to be chemically converted. So we're kind of at a crossroads. So when it comes to pollution, we have to remember the fact that matter can't be created or destroyed. So we have to be careful what kinds of matter that we are putting in the environment so that we can limit our impacts and, of course, continue to live more sustainably with our environment.